morning, everybody. Hello, greetings, chit chat, and all that good stuff. We are just gonna give a few minutes for people to come into the show. Let's throw up a little countdown. There we go. 3 minutes on the clock. We'll let people find their way in today. How is everybody doing this morning? Let's see here. Make sure everything's looking good on our side. This is one of those shows where we're actually ready in advance. I'm like, can we just go live now? But yeah, I suppose we should probably let people find the show. That's how it usually goes. So we today have a special guest, and I know that I can see him, you guys can't see him, you guys can't even hear him, but he's nodding away, and I'm trying not to look at him because he's kind of funny looking. It's going to make me laugh. But now he's shaking his head at me now. No, but we will have him up on the screen shortly here. But first, we're going to let people come into the show. Greetings, Andrew Byrne from Salem, Oregon, SRO Digital. So I went running this morning. This is a new thing for me. I started a week ago. Today's like the first one I properly tracked and all. And man, I am not good at this running thing. But I'm trying trail running, which to me is far more interesting than running on the street, where you've got that hard pavement and cars and things. On the trails, I only have to worry about cougars and bears, so much safer. But I tweeted something this morning, and someone was just commenting, "Am I feeling okay after my run?" I am feeling good. Feeling good. Yeah. Got to get my new shoes. I have new shoes coming Monday, because the shoes that I have are not great. It's a progress. We're making progress here. It's going to be fun. It's going to be good. But thank you for checking in on me. That is appreciated. All right, Andrew. So I got to bring up. Let's see here. Can I bring up the chat norm? I can't really do it right now because we have a different setup than usual. Andrew is asking if I drank my whiskey before I ran. Andrew, I don't know what kind of running you're doing, but that sounds like a terrible idea. Sugar to fuel the system. Yes, that's keeps the muscles loose, Andrew says. Yes, it certainly would keep the muscles loose. Maybe a little bit too loose. I don't know does the smell of alcohol keep the bears away? I don't know. It doesn't sound like a very good idea to me. Does not sound like a good idea. All right, we're just a minute away from go time here, and we will have this all set and ready. I'm going to quickly run through my presets to make sure that everything is in place. So we've got that. Yep, we've got that. That is good. Main show is up. We've got our interview scene. Wave hello to everybody. And we've got our chat room. Look at that. Everything is set. Man, I love it when everything works the way it's supposed to. Let's get our countdown back up. We are almost ready to go. Hey, you guys, so I got this thing. I tweeted a picture of this yesterday, or a couple days ago. This new little camera, this Wonder 360. It's my first 360 camera. It looks exactly like the Samsung VR. I have absolutely no idea if one company is making them for the other, or if it's just a complete knockoff. I don't know, but they reached out to me. They said, hey, we'd love for you to highlight this thing, sent it to me. And so I'm going to do an unboxing soon, and we'll start playing with this. But my first 360 experience. It's kind of cool. It's 4K, 4K 360. Too much fun. Apparently you can live stream, and I thought that'd be a fun pre-show. Just kind of set it up here while I'm getting ready to go live. I don't know why anybody would want to watch that, but sometimes these things are entertaining. Okay, look at that. Our countdown is off. Let us get this thing started, shall we? Here we go. On today's show, we're going to be talking to Chris Smith, the founder of the Out of Chicago Photography Conference, to learn what it's all about. Good morning and welcome to PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment, the first live 3 times a week show here on youtube.com/PhotoJoseph every 9:30 a.m. at Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Figure that one out. I bet you can't figure out what I meant to say there. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. We're live. We're here to talk about photography, video, live streaming, all kinds of things related. And every once in a while on this show, we bring on a guest. We bring on someone to have a chit chat with, talk about whatever it is we're going to talk about. And today, we have on here Mr. Chris Smith, the founder of the Out of Chicago Photography Conference. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Mr. Photo Joseph. Great to be on the show.
Well, it's great to have you here. So today we brought you on so that we could talk about this upcoming Out of Chicago conference. This is not totally charitable. It's because I'm actually going to be teaching at the conference, and I want to make sure that everybody watching has an opportunity to find out what this is about, whether it's something they want to attend, whether they live in Chicago or want to get on one of those big old things called an airplane and fly there. And we just want to learn about the show itself. We'll talk a little bit about the conference in this summer, in June, that I'm going to be speaking at. I also want to know a bit more about the history of the show, history of the conference, why you founded it, and so on. How's that sound to you?
That all sounds great. I love talking about it. That's my favorite thing, of course.
Well, let's start with that. Let's start with how this whole thing started. Why another conference? Because let's face it, there's about 1 million photography conferences out there today. What made you say, I'm going to do something different, I'm going to create this thing called Out of Chicago?
All right. I could tell so many stories about this, but I mean, one thing was that I always wanted to go to Photoshop World, and I was a high school teacher for 18 years, and it was always in April or it was in the spring, and
Okay.
I could never go. I said, well, what if we just brought all of my favorite instructors here to Chicago, and we did our own conference? And at the time, I'd actually never been to a conference. And
No
lots of people
kidding.
tell me, no, I'd never been to one. Well, I'd been to like, how to teach physics or whatever. That was like the thing. But I had never been to a photography conference. And in retrospect, people keep telling me, they're like, thank goodness you didn't, because I just did it the way I thought it should be, which turns out to be totally different than all other conferences out there.
Oh,
As a matter of
interesting.
fact, I'm not even sure we should call it a conference because it's more like a photography workshop, like buffet or on steroids. It's like that. The thing is that we have 35 instructors. We're expecting, I don't know, 350 people maybe. I mean, we limit this thing and we limit all the classes and all the photo walks. And the point is, you're not sitting in these big, huge auditoriums or big banquet rooms and just
Mm,
listening, 300 people to one speaker. You're going to be in classrooms with 10, 15 people. You're going to be going on photo walks with 10 people. It's like you get to know the instructors when you go there. So I
wow.
almost want to get rid of that word conference because it's a
Right.
totally different experience than anything else that's out there. And so I just tried it the first year. This is the 5th annual one coming up this year, but we tried it the first year, and people are like, I've never been to anything like that before. It was great. And so we said, well, let's keep doing it and making it bigger and better every year. And every year we add new things.
That's fantastic. So we should rebrand it. It's like the Out of Chicago, very intimate classroom session with your favorite photographer. It doesn't really roll off the tongue, but that's what it
Exactly.
is. That's
It,
interesting. Okay,
yeah, it's
cool.
going to take a brainstorm session to figure that out, but that's really the key. Is that social media is great for photographers and getting to know people like you. And I think you and I talked about this before, and people love tuning in 3 times a week and seeing this. But what if they actually had the opportunity of every once in a while actually waking up in the morning, instead of tuning into YouTube, you were right there and hang
Yeah,
out in person? It's a totally different experience. So
it is.
that's what we're trying to offer people, is something that they can't get any other way without actually being here.
Okay, well, fantastic. Well, since you're talking about all these instructors, I'm going to pull up the webpage for the summer conference. So incidentally, it's outofchicago.com/summer. That's where you want to go, and you'll see it right on top here, Out of Chicago. And as you scroll down here, you'll see the instructors. And Scott Kelby is doing the opening keynote. Now, he's not teaching throughout the conference, right? He's just there for the keynote. Is that correct?
So that's a good question, because in the past we've had Rick Salmon, and last year we had Art Wolf, and they came and they did the keynote and they left. And I said, you know what? I love you guys, but whoever we're having this year, they're sticking around. So Scott Kelby's going to be there all day Saturday too. He's going to be
Oh,
leading a
wow.
photo walk with me. He's going to be teaching another class. He's going to be doing a critique session. So yeah, it's I mean, that's the whole point. Like I've been trying to say, that's what we do, and so I wanted to offer that even with our keynote speaker.
Oh, that is, I did not know that. That is awesome. That really, this is not like I'm like, oh, I didn't know. I really didn't. So this is cool. All right, so we got Scott Kelby. Let's see, Scott Bourne's going to be teaching there as well. Nick Page, Steve Simon, friend of mine. Steve's awesome. Let's see here, some other names that are Manny Ortiz, big YouTuber. Will Cadena, Joe Edelman, another big YouTuber. Levi Sim. A lot of my friends on here, which is kind of cool. Ugo on there. Ralph. Yeah, there's some great people. Look, there's me. Chris, are you actually teaching, Chris? I see your name in here. How come you're the only
Yeah.
one that has
Oh,
a LinkedIn and Twitter link on your
oh, I
bio?
got to get rid of that. Yeah, just scroll right past that. Yes.
So huge
Jeez,
list of subscribers of instructors, and then just so if you've never seen the page before, the way this works is down at the bottom you'll see a calendar. Here it shows Friday's events, and Friday is the opening keynote event by Scott, and then there's a photo crawl/photo walk, and you'll see like 100 of them listed, 35 of them listed here. Every photographer's got their own. So if you skip over to the next day, to Saturday, then you can start to see the meat of some of these. So like here's fashion portraiture with Joe Edelman, and let's see here, compelling composition with Tony Sweet. We're just gonna grab a few random frozen moments, high-speed nature photography, that'd be cool, with Steve Gettle. Let's see, Angie, class with Angie. Well, I guess some of these are still pending their names. There is a class with Angie and Michael. That'll be, I'm sure it'll be amazing.
They're amazing architecture photographers.
Oh, cool.
Here's like the best part and the worst part about this conference, or whatever you want to call it. But the best part is that we offer so many different things, from just the 3 or 4 classes you name there. And I started to put them into tracks this year, and I realized we basically have 5 tracks. We have architecture, because we're in one of the greatest cities in the world for photographing architecture.
Absolutely.
But we have like Scott Bourne and Tony Sweet. They're doing all nature stuff. We have Steve Simon and those guys doing street photography and travel photography, like Ralph and Ugo. And And then we have all the portrait photographers. We have some of the best wedding photographers here in Chicago. They're all part of the same thing. Oh, and then we're doing Photoshop and post processing, and there's even like mini workshops where you can just work just a few people with one instructor, and you bring your laptop and you work through the things with them. So the worst part about it is it's like you say some of those names to people and they're like, I have no idea who you're talking about. But if you say Angie McMonagle, Michael Mraz, John Cosmopoulos, and all these people to someone that loves architecture, they're like, oh my goodness,
Right.
they're like the top of the top. So basically, what we figured out, which may be a bad thing, is we're running like 5 phenomenal conferences. 5, you know what I'm saying? All at the same time. But that's also great because it's like that buffet idea. If you're just the type of person that's like, I love to be out and have a camera in my hand and shoot all sorts of different things, you can pick a little of this and a little of that and have a great weekend.
Absolutely. And I would advise anybody who's considering going that obviously you can sign up for all the ones that you know and love. You got the architecture, you want to do nature, but take at least 1 or 2 classes that aren't things that you're already comfortable with. Take something totally different. Like I'm not a nature photographer, but I would love to take a nature course with Scott Bourne. That'd be incredible. Why not? You
Right.
never know what you're going to learn. Even if you're shooting something completely different, you can always still learn a tip, and that's part of the fun of something like this.
We get comments every year when we do our surveys at the end where people are like, I've always shot portraits and I do weddings, but I went to go see this flower photographer, and they're like, honestly, that is my new passion. I am a flower photographer. And it's
That's
just
awesome.
different. So,
Very cool.
so if you're like, it's really meant not for professional photographers. We're not going to teach you the business of wedding photography. If
Okay.
you're trying to make a living out of wedding photography, you wouldn't come here to get better at that. But you actually might come to this to be like, oh, geez, I'm going to learn all these cool new things, some new post-processing tips, and I'm going to put that into it. But it's also just to satisfy the fact that you got into photography because you love it and you're passionate about it. And so why not spend a whole weekend just indulging in that passion? And
Okay,
that's
so
what we-
that's I'm really glad you brought that up. So this is not necessarily, not that pros can't go, and if you are a pro wedding photographer taking a nature course, you never know what you're going to learn. How to catch the shot of that bride as she runs away, kind of a
Right.
the gazelle running. But if you're just a passionate photographer, this is something you do as a hobby, it's something you do for fun. This is really who this conference is for. A person who just wants to just get the most out of all that gear that they've got and take the pleasure out of this, get more pleasure out of this career, or not career choice, but hobby that they've chosen.
Right. And that's really like my story is that I started in photography and I loved it. And I'm like, you know what? Eventually, if I get really good, I'll be like a wedding photographer. That would be great. And then I shot 5, 10 weddings. And it's like, wait a minute, I don't want to do this. And I'm like, okay, I'll be like a commercial photographer. And I'm like, wait, I'm just working for this company. Like, that's no good either. And I realized that what I love about photography, and I think what a lot of people love about photography, is the experience. And I love the social experience.
Sure.
I love going out and shooting with other people and be like, oh, geez, I never even thought about like putting my camera down on the ground. Like, oh, I got to try that too. That is so cool. It's the type of thing that you just don't get through the social media experience. I don't care how many videos you watch.
Yeah.
It's just a different experience to be there and interact together.
No doubt, no doubt. And speaking social, it's not just the time that you're in the classroom with the photographers. We also have a lot of out of the classroom opportunities to connect. I mean, there's the restaurants and bars at night where people are going to be hanging
That's right.
out.
Yep.
I know when I go to something like this, I try to be as available as I can, and if that means hanging out in the hotel lobby or whatever, there is a particular bar I think that is the kind of the congregating point where people go. In
We
the
all go
evening.
to the Bar Louie down in Printers Row. That makes sense, right? For a
There you go.
photographer.
Perfect.
Printers
So
Row.
it's a great place to just hang out and chat with people.
Yeah,
that's,
and that's part
exciting.
of it. I mean, we pick the instructors that we know are helpful. I mean, like you're a perfect example. Like that's what you want to do is help other people
Yeah.
get the most out of this passion. And so all of our instructors are people that want to help and they love connecting with people. And so whether they're, a professional commercial photographer or they do mostly workshops and teaching, either way, they're people that are here to help. And I don't know, people love it.
Very cool. All right, well, next up, I want to talk about where the conference is going in the future, what you have planned and what you're thinking about. But before we do that, I'm going to show folks how and where to register. What does it cost for the conference?
So that's going to be a longer answer than you want right now, but it's $500.
Okay.
I think you've got a code for people. In the past, it's been like $250, but then we charged an additional for every little mini workshop that you want to do.
Okay.
Every photo walk was all additional. And we said, it's just, you sign up, you pay it, and you're in, you get everything. So
Great.
as of right now, we haven't even picked classes yet. You sign up, you get your ticket in the beginning of June. That's when we're going to send you a
okay.
link Now you go and pick your classes. So you make sure you're with Photo Joseph. You make sure you're in the ones that you want to be in,
Right.
and get those photo walks as well. And so yeah, if you're just hearing about it now, it's not like you're behind the game at all.
Okay, so $500, and I'm going to show you in a second how you can get a $50 off of that. But $500, that gives you access to the whole thing. Starts Friday afternoon. It's all Friday afternoon and evening, and then all day Saturday, all day Sunday.
That's right.
This
And
is
we
a
do
packed
have,
weekend.
absolutely. Yeah. You're going to go crazy. You're going to go nuts. We're going to go late into the night and then wake up early. We do not shoot the sunrise though, because that is at like 4:30 in the morning here in Chicago. So
I'll be there.
that's the one thing we decide to cut. You can do it on your own.
That's what time-lapse cameras are for.
Yeah, set them out the night before. Yeah. Oh, and we do have pre-conference workshops as well. All day Thursday, all day Friday. You could spend the whole day with one. We have like 5 of them each day, something like that. So if you want to spend the whole day with Levi Sim, spend the whole day with Steve Simon doing street photography, you can do that kind of as a warm-up to the whole weekend. And those are additional, but it's the whole day in a full workshop.
Very good. Okay, so if you are thinking about going, this is where you go. Just head over to outofchicago.com/summer for the summer conference. The dates of this are June 22nd to 24th. That's coming right up here, so just a little over a month away. And if you use the code PhotoJoseph, then you will get $50 off of that conference admission, bring it down to $450. I mean, even at $500, that is a killer deal, but obviously $450 is even better. Also, before I jump back into the interview, I want to tell you guys about a promotion that's happening right now for all of my Lumix shooters out there. This is Leica Promotion Month. And there are some killer deals on some killer Leica lenses. So you can see all the way up to $500 off of that new 200mm f2.8 that I revealed the other day. And I will be showing you some more of that. And let's see here, $300 off of the 12mm. There's some pretty sweet deals on there. So to get those, you just head over to your dealer and talk to them, whatever dealer you prefer to shop with, and they will have those. There's our industry-wide, so you can check those out. So with that said, let's go back to the interview, and Chris, let's talk about what's next. So we've got this summer conference.
Oh boy. And I'm gonna add on to what you just said, which is another big thing about the event is that Panasonic's gonna be there. You said go check out the lenses. Well, you said go to the website. Well, at the Out of Chicago conference, we'll have all those vendors there as part of the expo. You can borrow cameras, lenses. You're going to be working with people in the Out of Chicago shootout to help them with video stuff and all the different things you can use along with it. But a bunch of different companies will be there, lending stuff out to go take in city and shoot. I'm sorry.
Awesome. No, that's great. That's great.
Feel bad. I'm sorry.
I guess I did know that there was going to be a trunk of gear there. I don't know. That's not my side of it, but that's great. Very cool. Okay, so what's next? So you've been doing this for 5 years. It is not always in Chicago, though, right? You've done these elsewhere than Chicago in the past.
Yes. So we did one in New York City, which was crazy because I think I read what was a book, The Obstacle is the Way, and it said in business what you should do. That was really good. Ryan Holiday, I believe, is the author, and he said, in business, think about the thing that you think would be like the most difficult thing to pull off, and you do that. And I'm like, well, what if we tried to hold it right in the middle of downtown Manhattan? And that's what we did, and it went great, but it was a ton of work, and it was there was a lot of different details to deal with there, and things are expensive. But we did it, and that was cool. That was just a couple of years ago. But like I said before, the conference is great and terrible because it covers all different types of photography. But what we started to do is we've done a couple of new conferences. Last year, we went to Acadia National Park in Maine, and we did all landscape photography. And what was great about that is that you're like, oh, geez, these are all landscape photographers, and we love, and if you follow landscape photography, you knew all of them. This year we're going to Moab, Utah in October. That event is sold out. We do have a wait list, though, if you're interested in joining it. Just go to outofchicago.com. You'll see all the things we have going on. The other thing people love, though, is photographing flowers. And so we're doing an entire conference, not just a workshop, but 100-people conference. 10 of the best flower photographers in the world will be at the Chicago Botanic Garden. And we're going to do the same thing where we're going to learn and then go out and shoot alongside with them. So that's our plan. We're going to do a whole conference with just architecture. And we'll keep doing the summer one where it's that buffet, but we're going to also do the steak dinners where we go to these
Very good. And I know, and hopefully I'm not revealing something I'm not supposed to, but I know you just came back from a trip where you were scouting a possible, not for sure, but a possible location for a future conference.
You never know, but yes, I just got back from Iceland with a couple of attendees, Donnie and Paul from Acadia, and they were great because they knew Iceland so well. They showed me all the locations, all the things we could do if we wanted to do a possible event there.
Nice.
So yeah, that's one to. Now I'll do my business side. That's one to go to outofchicago.com and sign up for the newsletter, because as
Okay.
soon as if we announce that, that's going to go right away. Yeah.
Can I sign up as an instructor right now? Just it's on the
Yes.
record. I've never been to Iceland.
Let me write this down.
That'd be a good
Yeah.
excuse. Yeah, there you go. Very good. Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on and telling us all about it. That is
thank
great.
you.
I've learned a few things about it, which is good because I'm going to be teaching there in a matter of weeks. So good to know about it.
You know what? We're just, I'll interrupt you
Yeah.
for the last time, but we're just so glad to have all these instructors and to have you there. I mean, I've followed you, Photo Joseph, since you were, Joseph Lanashki, and, it was Aperture Expert and all these other things. And to see where you've come with this, and I love watching the show, and we're just so glad to have you coming. You're just going to fit in perfect with all the other instructors. And yeah, thank you very much for having me on the show too.
Awesome. Well, my pleasure. My absolute pleasure. So I'm looking at the chat room. There's not a whole lot going on over there. So we're not going to jump over to the chat today, but that's okay. This is we had a good chat right here talking about
we answered all the questions.
We answered all the questions. There you go.
Jeez.
So thanks again, Chris, for coming on. I really appreciate it. It's been wonderful to have you and learn all about it. And once again, I will remind everybody that if you are interested, just head over to outofchicago.com/summer, and you can use that code PhotoJoseph to get yourself $50 off of the registration. With that, my friends, we are going to wrap up the show. Chris, wave goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye.
And we'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, and we're out. Go ahead and wrap it up.